Hello guys, in the last episode we showed you how we spent nearly 600 euros on LEGO sets for our first steps into LEGO investing. Today we're going to find out if these purchases yielded profits. January was upon us and we did the opportunity to find out if LEGO investing works. For the past 4 months we have been gathering up sets, carefully purchasing what we deemed as profitable investments. But first, let's see our investments for the month of January. Starting up, I bought 3 40539 Brickhead Ahsoka Tano sets. These are store exclusives, so you're not going to see them in regular shops. I paid full price of €10 for them, so no discount. The reason for this is that I figure as soon as they retire they will be easily sellable for €15, a small price hike in actual currency but a high percentage profit margin. Ahsoka's show is supposed to appear in August and that will surely bump up the price because Ahsoka is a very loved character. Not to mention the actual brickheads looks pretty cool if you ask me. January is when I really started to pay attention to minifig magazines. The few sales I made were extremely profitable and the item cost was low. I started to research a bit what types of minifigs are usually in demand and then I got a lucky break. In January, a new magazine appeared featuring the Mandalorian Warrior. This was a highly collectible minifig for Mandalorian army builders. I bought no less than 21 of them at full price of €4 each. You might say that was a bit much, but in my mind these minifigs don't devalue and they will still be worth it a long time, or until LEGO makes a new Mandalorian battle pack. Next, I raided NinjaGo minifigs again. For €1 each I bought 4 Iron Barons, 2 Coles, 3 Kais and 2 Woos. Also 1 Sawyer, 3 Samurai X and 1 Jetjack for €3.5 each. These were older minifig magazines that I found in newsstands where not many people actually pass by. Steeper price for sure, but these were old and rare, so I figured they would sell. A nice surprise were some older Star Wars magazines, namely 1 Kylo Ren shuttle for €4 and 1 Finn and 1 Poe Dameron's X-Wing for €2 each. Again, these were very rare and I figured someone would want them down the line. After all, I have 1 year to sell them in order to make up for my investment. Lastly, I discovered while going shopping for clothes with Vladi, a local shop chain that had these little booklets with activities that were also sporting LEGO minifigures attached. The price was €2.5 each, so I figured it would be good to diversify and bought a few of each. 5 Lloyds, 3 Sensei Wu, 2 Fendrich, 2 Lucius Malfoy, 3 Neville Longbottom, 4 Alan Grant, 3 Reign de la Court, 4 Rebirth Batgirl, all for around €2 each. You might say this was a strange January haul, right? Like only 2 or 3 cheap sets and the rest was basically minifigure magazines. Yes, while the number of sets purchased was small, you can see that I went pretty hard on the minifigs. Given that we started January with a deficit on our cash flow, that means I sourced up to make up for it, right? Because a good businessman never goes in debt. Well, yes I did. Let's see what sales we made in January. First up, 75277 Boba Fett's helmet. I originally bought this for €50 and it had a retail price of €62. I managed to sell it in less than a week for €70, a net profit of €20 and a return of investment of 40%. This was my very first big sale and it was so rewarding. I managed to validate that I could buy a LEGO set at a discount and sell it a bit over retail. And the 40% return of investment means that I earned on this sale 6 times over what I would have gotten from a bank deposit on this amount for a year. But that's not all. I sold 75305, the Scout Trooper helmet as well. I bought this for €33.4 and it had a retail of €52. I managed to sell it for €60 or a profit of €26.6 and a return of investment of 80%. Remember when I said you should do your own research? All the YouTubers were saying that these two sets are not exciting, they are not cool, they have been too long on the shelf, and yet in less than 2 weeks after they retired, people were willing to pay a bit over retail to have them. Moving on, I also sold one 75280 501st Clone Trooper set. This was bought for 21.6 euro. It retailed for 32 euro and I sold it for 36 euro. 14.4 euros profit and a ROI of 66%. I was already feeling pretty good about our sales, but there was also a bit more. The minifigs did not disappoint. I sold two Obi-Wan Kenobis for 11 euros. This cost me 1 euro each, so an easy 9 euro profit or a ROI of 450%. I also sold one Lloyd, 4 Coles, 3 Kai, 4 Iron Baron and 2 Woos for 3 euro each. I purchased them for 1 euro each, so that was another 28 euro in profit and a 200% ROI. Next, I sold 2 Mandalorian Warriors freshly purchased and freshly out of stock. Sold them for 15 euros after paying 4 each, so another 7 euro profit or around 90% ROI. Lastly, to round things up, I got an order for 1 Lloyd, 1 Friedrich, 1 Lucius, 1 Alan and 1 Batgirl. As a bulk deal, I sold them for 18 euros after paying 10 for them, so another 8 euro in profit and an 80% ROI. This was it. I mean, I didn't have much stock, right? But I think for January this was pretty nice in terms of sale amount. Let's go to the data and see what it tells us. Purchase by month shows January was a buying spree. You wouldn't guess it by the fact that we bought mostly minifigs, but it's just a bit under December, which is a record month. Purchase by team tells the story. Magazine gifts rocketed to a respectable amount together with time to play books. Brickheads now shows up on our list as we require those Ahsokas, and all the rest stay pretty much the same. Here's the really fun part. Sold and profit per month. January saw 252 euros in sales with 112.5 euros being pure profit. And when looking at the sold total by team, we can see what were the money makers. The helmets were the most successful, and don't forget these were just 2 sets. Next are magazine gifts and time to play books with a respectable 113 euro. What I find interesting is that these are low cost items and yet sold at scale, add up, and also they have an amazing return on investment. Lastly, the battle pack we sold is under the generic Star Wars theme, a nice little gem, and I have 3 more to sell. For the overall situation, here's where we stand. We've invested 500 euros officially in these 5 months. The portfolio value has stayed pretty much the same, but we've managed to return most of our debt. If you remember, at the end of December we had overspent by 211 euros, and now we've reduced that debt by 3/4 down to 67. Our total sold is now at 279 euros with a profit of 131 euros for a total margin of almost 47%. This is an amazing achievement over what we were aiming for. Keep in mind we sold in January almost half of all the amount that we invested. Now, let's be honest, I wouldn't call this an amazing way to get rich yet. However, this shows promise. Like I said, we carefully selected a few sets, we put some money in, and after retirement we actually managed to get a small profit. I don't know about you, but 131 euro profit is good enough to buy a brand new Lego set if you want. Or you could reinvest that profit like we did and just keep rolling the ball and increase your portfolio. I think one of the better things that I learned during January is that you have to communicate with people a lot when you sell like I do. I don't rely on eBay or Amazon because these are not really available in my area, so I have to sell via Facebook Marketplace or classified sites. So basically, people ring me up, they message me, we talk, we establish the price together, and then we meet and we do the exchange. Obviously, if you want to scale, you need to have better solutions to sell your sets in the future, but this is not a concern right now. After all, right now we have a couple of dozen sets and some magazines with minifigures, and we're just trying to see how this goes. Okay guys, this was it. This was January. LEGO investing works at a small scale at the beginning. I'm very curious to see what the future will bring. Please like and subscribe and follow us for more adventures in LEGO investing. Thank you and see you in the next video.